episode 10 of From Then to Now, because the last two episodes I've got the numbering wrong at the start of both of them. And this is the series where we take the WWF and WCW all the way from the 1992 January, all the way up to as close to the modern day as we physically can get, no matter how many episodes it takes us, which is terrifying to think of still. This episode we've got Superstars of Wrestling on the build to Saturday night's main event, and continuing the big build, of course, to WrestleMania 8. Gene Okerlund does his normal hype up for the crowd, and he runs through what matches you're going to expect tonight. We've got the New Heart Foundation of Owen and Jim taking on the Beverly Brothers. After their face-to-face last week, the Mountie takes on Crush. The Legion of Doom defend their tag team titles against Money Inc. Haku is in action. And our main event is Hogan and Savage, the Mega Powers, against Sid and Jake. Big card tonight with a massive main event. And maybe a big surprise. And we kick off with the Hart Foundation versus the Beverly Brothers, the New Foundation even. And the New Foundation pick up the win when Jim Neidhart is attacked by Roddy Piper, leading to a DQ. Essentially, we're continuing that story, but we're fully getting the New Foundation into this story. The Beverly Brothers lose here because of Piper, but afterwards they sort of get over it very quickly and they start attacking the New Foundation with Piper, only for Bret Hart to make the save. Both of those segments lose heat on our storyline, because if one thing we're learning is that for some reason WWF is a lot harder to get these storylines in than WCW, which makes no fucking sense. Moving on. The Crush versus the Mountie match. The Crush apparently. And Crush defeats the Mountie by countout. Yeah, we're getting a lot of scruffy finishes on this show just because it's the early 90s on TV. I'm allowed to. So we get some scruffy finishes here. The Crush basically just gets upper hand for a bit, and the Mountie bails. Just walks out, runs off, gets counted out. Crush is your winner, but it's inconclusive. We get a promo from the British Bulldog. He's backstage with Gene Okerlund saying, you know what? If The Undertaker... I think it's pretty obvious who The Undertaker was targeting last week. Me. And if he wants to come for me, then he can come at it. But he needs to realise that I'm not going to be a simple pushover. And that if he wants this to work, I need the best Undertaker. I've got a lot to prove. This summer, Wembley Stadium in SummerSlam in Wembley Stadium even, we have got a big stadium show in my home country. My goal is to be the focal point of that show, and I think I deserve it. So yeah, Undertaker, you can claim that I'm being handed stuff, but you know damn well that I am working harder than anyone to make sure that I am ready for this summer. If you want to stand in my way, be my guest. You ain't gonna like what I do. Gets a 61, it gains heat on the Rest in Peace storyline. We get the Legion of Doom defeating Money Inc. Hawk pins IRS with Doomsday Device, with Earthquake and Typhoon attacking IRS and Million Dollar Man, but not being seen by the ref this time. So Legion of Doom make the 9th defense of their tag team titles. DiBiase was by far the best person in this match. gains heat on the Jimmy loyalty story. IRS and Jimmy Hart don't work together, which is a hint for where this storyline is going. Because remember, triple threats don't exist yet. But yeah, so a pretty good match. I guess 70. It's the best match we've had in a while on WWF. Moving on. Gene Okerlund is backstage and he just walking around, just talking to the camera. And he spots Bobby Heenan coming out of Jake Roberts and Sid Justice's locker room. And he goes, "Mr. Heenan, what are you doing in there?" And Bobby just says to him, "Mean Gene, it's none of your damn business," and walks off. This is 76. Bobby Heenan has a hot catchphrase, which I'm guessing is "none of your damn business," because that's literally all he said. We get our Haku squash match. Haku defeats B.A. Dalton. Just slows the crowd down a little bit before we hype them right up for our main event. It's also our storytelling match. It gets a 24. That is low. And backstage during this match, we get Sergeant Slaughter going into the Barbarians' locker room with Fuji and Haku over at ringside. And Slaughter basically just gets into his ear and says, "You're a bit of a pawn, aren't you, here? Isn't Fuji just using you? You're a big guy. Why aren't you on your own? Why do you need him?" Just my thoughts. Let them ponder, you maggot. Gets a 57 rating. And the main event gets a 76. Oof. Reverend Slick wasn't great on commentary, but we knew that. We know he's a stopgap. And the match goes 18 minutes, and Sid pins Hogan. And he didn't even complain. I think I kept him strong. No. Didn't even keep him strong. He just gets attacked by Shawn Michaels. In fact, Savage was the one who was complaining. I don't know what's happened here, but Hogan just did not complain about this match at all. Savage did, so I assumed Savage was the one being pinned. No, Hogan was. Which is what I wanted. But I just didn't think they'd actually let me do it. Savage by far the best in the match. Hogan 76, 71 for Jake. And a 66 for Sid. Advances Snakebite and fair to Flair. Because after the match, everyone beats down Hogan. Flair, Perfect, Michaels, and Sid. I forgot to put Sid on this segment, apparently. And Ric Flair comes out and he introduces you to the Four Horsemen. Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, and Sid Justice. This is the Four Horsemen. You can't, you've got to do it. The fact that they didn't ever even try and do something Four Horsemen like in WWF is hilarious. But we're going to do it because I also own WCW, so I get to use the copyright. Gets a 71. Brilliant promo from Flair. Probably wish I'd have actually had Sid on there. And overall, we get a 65. 11 down, 8 up. Still not got enough storylines, which is annoying. We will get there. We gain 100 grand. Losing in America, gaining in UK and Europe. So, which is good because obviously we need to get popular in the UK for later this year. For that Wembley show which I mentioned. So let's get into our B shows. In the Manhattan Center, first up, Primetime Wrestling. Greg Valentine defeats El Matador with a pile driver. The Berserker and the Orient Express, Kato and Tanaka, defeat the Bushwhackers and Skinner and Kato pins Skinner. We get a promo from the British Bulldog. It's basically a replay of his promo from Superstars. We get a video package featuring Earthquake, showing him and Typhoon's dominance over the tag team division recently. Big Boss Man shown training. Rick Martel says he'll be returning to Superstars next week. And Crush defeats the Warlord in just under 9 minutes with a chokeslam. Continues up his feud as he's going on against the Mountie. And the main event sees the entire 4 horsemen cutting a promo together. Gets a 58, onto our next show. And onto the Wrestling Challenge. Barry Horowitz gets a shock victory over Koko B. Ware. Gets a 41. We get Bret Hart cutting a promo about Piper and the Beverly Brothers attacking his family on Superstars. Jim Duggan defeats the Genius with Old Glory. Shawn Michaels talks about why he is happy that he has joined the Horsemen and that Flair is going to be the future for his career. Big Boss Man cuts the same promo we saw on the other B show, just a repeat. Crush and the Warlord defeat Greg Valentine and Repo Man. I was just trying some teams out. Crush picks up the win, pinning Greg Valentine with the chokeslam. Mr. Perfect cuts a promo hyping up the Horsemen because they're going to be making their first full TV appearance on Superstars. And the main event sees The Undertaker defeat Chris Walker 6 minutes with a chokeslam. Gets a 54 rating. Overall, the show gets a 55. So not too shabby. But let me know what you guys thought of the B shows and, of course, of the main show today. Leave it in the comments. Leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed. I've been loving reading all your comments. I'm trying to reply to all of them. And I think I have so far. I've at least replied or reacted to all of them. I read them all. They're brilliant. I love them. I hope they continue as we go through into this series and get more lore. More from then to now lore built. Let me know what you're excited for though. See you next time. Goodbye.